Welcome to Holy Shit. This is where I'll read through the Bible and offer color commentary throughout from an atheist perspective. This is really something that believers and religious individuals do every day in their homes, churches, synagogues, mosques, and I always thought it'd be a lot more interesting and valuable for an atheist to do it, so here I am. Because I'll offer questions and thought experiments, doubts, and challenges that I encourage people to offer, put their comments down in the comment section of the YouTubes and respond with their own challenges and their own thought experiments, their own questions, or maybe you have answers to what I'm doing, and that kind of engagement could only help to facilitate a better understanding, if you are a believer, of your own religion and your own understanding. If you get to the end, you could be an even more valuable member to your faith, fully having understood what you really do believe in. So I could be like a forge for you to strengthen your resolve and make you a lot stronger, more valuable believer in the end. But I always found the best way to kind of become a born-again atheist is to really just read the Bible, is the quickest really way to do that. So this is a win-win for everybody involved. It'll offer the atheist perspective on things, and that we're not your enemy, we just think you're wrong, and sometimes hilariously so. Especially your scripture can be a delight, an absolute delight to read. Unfortunately, I don't have the originals because they don't exist. So I can't use the original manuscripts of the Bible. I have to go with something that's going to... The earliest versions of the Old Testament we have are around like 700 BCE, and they're supposed to be on events that happened another like 600 or 700 years before that. The New Testament's even kind of worse, because even though the earliest text we have are 200 years after the purported events occurred, we don't have them in the original language. They're in Latin or Greek, and the earliest versions that we have, there are about 30,000 discrepancies between them, and we don't know which ones are like more accurate or which ones were copy errors or pious frauds or anything like that. We don't have any way of judging which ones are the more true to form ones than any others. And that already is a kind of a problem to deal with. If you are a God that wants to convey this message across, you've already failed right off the start. So I'm going to just, to try to keep things simple, I'm going to just use King James Version, because it's the most widespread, at least in the English language. So I'm just going to try to keep it simple, doing that and having that settled. We're just going to use that one. All right. I'm sorry if you have a problem with that, but take it up with God, because apparently God can't. Like, if you were able, like, if every time you copied it, it was impossible for you to make an error, that would be fantastic. That would be the way to go. But apparently God, didn't decide to seize on that opportunity, because that'd be great evidence. But that's definitely not what happens. Okay? Every time we copy it, we fuck it up. All right? So let us begin. At the beginning, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void. Wait, so, because, how do you create something without form or void? I mean, matter has form. It's okay. So he seemingly did the impossible right off the bat. It's like, this is impressive that he created something and it doesn't exist. It's remarkable. It exists and doesn't exist simultaneously. All right. And darkness was on the face of the deep. The deep what? Nobody knows, because he didn't create anything. He created something and nothing I guess. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters, which he didn't even create waters yet. This is the first time he even mentioned it. All right. So that first paragraph is rather troubling to really comprehend, because he creates something without creating it, and there's waters all of a sudden, but he gives himself form apparently so he can hover over waters that have no form or void to them, that essentially don't even exist. All right. This could be, just the result of somebody who, it could just be concepts. Maybe he just created the concept of it, because if you really do think about it, it's just a fun little idea to think about God even before this. God is just sitting there for how long, we don't know, but God has apparently always existed, right? So God's just sitting there, always existing, and nothing else exists. It's only God. For how long, we don't know. Time doesn't even exist as we know it, I guess. He's got to invent that. But there's something. He's the only thing in existence for eons. And so he doesn't know why he even exists, because he can't understand. He's part of the system that he's trying to figure out, and that you can't. He doesn't know why he exists. He has no meaning or purpose to his existence. There's just him and nothing else. You're the only thing that exists. There's nothing else, and you have no idea why you're even here. And by the time he gets to start creating really anything, he's probably fucking insane. So we got to keep that in mind as we progress here. And maybe that explains why he's like creating things and not creating them simultaneously, like some kind of weird magic, unmagic thing that he's doing. All right, so this next verse is the most kind of problematic in weird ways. It says, "Then God said, 'Let there be light.' And there was light. And God saw the light that it was good." All right, so first go back. He said, "Let there be light." You know what goes in just to be able to do it? Could have just said God then created light and move on, right? But no, he's got to go dramatic for like no reason. Let's just get super dramatic and be like, "Let there be light." I've got to say this, so shit, I've got to create like lungs or some kind of billows to push some medium like air through vocal cords to create some kind of carrier pitch, and then I can manipulate that pitch through some filters or mouth. If I'm not going to use mouth, like some kind of filters to manipulate. I got to create a whole fucking language, to go along with this to send it out. I got to create space and like fill that space with this medium so that like I can send this message out to who? No one. There's no one there. All right, nothing exists at this point. I don't know who he's talking to, why he even feels compelled to do this kind of dramatic moment for nobody. And some people will say it's like it's in the speaking that's how he's creating it. But it doesn't connect that. It doesn't connect speaking to, it says that he said, "Let there be light," and then there was light, right? There was light. But it doesn't say like how the speaking actually created that. And language is very much different than actual reality. So at a certain point, you're going to have to break them apart and be like, he didn't say it at the beginning. Like in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He didn't say, "Let there be heavens and the earth" from the beginning, right? So there's this weird distinction that he's having here, talking to nobody. He's got to create... Just to create light, he's got to create like a billion fucking things just to do this one moment that's just unnecessarily dramatic for nobody, which it goes to support the total lunatic kind of tilt on understanding this whole opening, that he's lost his mind by this point. And so he's like, "I'm going to do that. I want to say this out into nothing, to nobody." All right? Just to create light. Right? And then he's got to see it. It's like he's his own skeptic. He's like, "I just created light. I know it's there, but I've got to see this shit because I don't even know what the fuck light is. I've got to look at it. And then he sees that it was good. Like, I don't know why he's putting some kind of weird value judgment on light. Like, as if, like, I don't know why you have to see it as good. Why can't it just, he saw that it was light or something. And then he saw it was good and divided light from the darkness after the fact. So he's like, I saw light was good, so the shit, that must mean darkness is total crap. I don't know why you're making these distinctions. It seems completely unnecessary, unprovoked. You could have just been like, oh, there was light. Okay, that's good. That's good in the sense that I actually can create things. Because he doesn't seem to even know what he's creating when he's doing it. Maybe that's what he means by that's good. All right? But then God called light day, and the darkness he called night. Which I don't understand. You just created light. You said, let there be light. Also, like, as if someone was keeping you from creating it. You're like, please, just let me do this, you know. But you just created light. Why don't you just call it light? Like, no, but I'm going to call the light day. And then the darkness, I didn't create it. Already existed. And I'm going to call that night. I don't know why I don't just call it darkness. I could just go, here's light and then here's darkness. And these are two different things. But no, he's going to do that. And then so the evening and the morning were the first day. But he just called light day. So I don't understand. The first day is now this alternation between light and darkness, which doesn't occur in space. There's just light and darkness coexisting as one. The only way you would have an evening and a morning is if you were on a planet somewhere that was rotating with the sun. You can have this alteration of light and day, or day and night. But that shit doesn't exist yet. So he can't even make this distinction that he's trying to make. All right? That seems odd from a God that's creating things. But it must be a lunatic. Right? So now we're going on to the second day. This is going to be fantastic. Then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So he just said the same thing twice, but he already created heaven from the first line. So I don't know what happened to that heaven. I guess it evaporated. I don't know. But now he's like, okay, now I'm going to separate waters that I was hovering above the deep. Now I'm splitting them and shoving heaven in the middle of them, or a new heaven. I don't know. Maybe he's just calling everything heaven. That's going to get confusing. Maybe you should come up with some other term for these things. But that was the evening and the morning were the second day. The second day, he just redid the first day without the light part. He already created the heavens and the earth, and here he creates the heavens and the earth on the second day again. He must have fucked up the first one, and he just like erased it, and they're like, hope nobody notices that the second day I'm just really redoing the first day and without the light part. All right? So now on to the third day. Wonder what's going to happen now. So then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. Like, you're supposed to create it. You can't just let something appear like something was obstructing the land. It didn't exist. All right? So I don't understand why he's like gathering waters together and then just like let land appear. When did that show up? I don't know. Nobody knows. All right. Apparently he's not creating things at this point. He's just trying to reveal them, like some weird fucked up magician. All right. But and also he's like gathering the waters together. But whatever. It's weird. And God called the dry land earth, but he already invented earth and created it in the first day, but he's doing it again. Now he's just calling dry land earth and heaven. That's all he's good at. coming up with names. That's just going to be it. And God called dry land, we'll call that earth, whatever. Or heaven, we could call that heaven, doesn't matter. And the gathering together of the waters, he called seas, right? Well, switching it up, sweet. And he saw that they were good, of course. He's got to see that they were good. For what reason? Nobody knows, all right? And also there's no oceans. That's kind of weird. But anyway, then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. Nobody talks like this. This sounds like someone totally trying to bullshit you. All right? The fruit tree that yields fruit, like what else is it gonna do? This is what makes me think he's already done this before and he's royally fucked it up. So that this time he's like, no, this time make the fucking fruit trees that yield the fruit. All right? Not last time. Last time I made fruit trees, didn't produce any fruit. It just produced rocks. Everyone starved to death. It was embarrassing, you know? Or like the herbs that produce seed. As opposed to the last time, it didn't produce any seed. It all died after the first generation. There were no seeds to replant, so everybody just starved to death again. And that was a nightmare. So this time, I'm just going to clarify after everything I say. That's just like, we're going to make this correct. It's like somebody saying stuff and they don't really know what the fuck they're talking about, but they're just trying to the fruit that produces fruit, the fruit trees make the fruits that are like all the fruits and stuff. It's like doing one of these, all the fruits and things. Do all that shit, do the things. Like it's like trying to just do micromanage of nonsense. Just here, Earth, do that thing that I want you to do. It's like, why are you even talking at this point? Why don't you just say God just made all the plants and everything? All right, but I guess he's locked into this rhetorical element of talking his whole existence into existence, but except from the beginning, right? He didn't think talking was necessary. Now he does. All right, and then it just reiterates that all of a sudden the earth did then bring forth all this shit according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, and whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Well, that's good, Hate to see him fuck that up, as if it was going to be any other way than what he just was going to do. But anyway, so the evening and the morning were the third day. That's the end of the third day. He's done nothing different than the first sentence, which it already said God created the heavens and the earth. Could just skipped over all of this. He's just redoing everything he's already done. It's peculiar. All right. Then God said, here we're on the fourth day. All right. Then God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night. He's already divided the day from the. He's already done this. He's already created light. What happened to that light when he's like, let there be light? What did he just go, let there be light, and then the light just evaporated, and he was like, oh shit, I gotta fucking do that again. So then on the fourth day, he's like, okay, now this time, let there be light in the firmament of heaven. All right, and I'm gonna separate day from light again because I screwed that up. And let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. He's trying to define time from Earth's perspective, which he hasn't even invented the sun yet, or the moon, or stars, as we'll find out. He's just created lights in the firmament of heaven, whatever that is, and he's using that to try to determine seasons and days and years. I hate to tell God, but that's not how things work, okay? That's not how we measure time. We can't just use stars that are out there, right? We use the sun and the Earth's rotation and its rotation around the sun as well. You don't have to explain this to God, right? Supposedly, he set it all up. He knows how it works. And some people will say, well, he's just trying to communicate with the laymen of the times, and this is how they understand things. No, sorry. If this were the word of God, seriously, it would just be like, or God inspired, it would be oozing divine wisdom through it. Just everything would be like, there would be understanding of basic physics and how things are set up in this early time. It wouldn't take that much for him to actually educate his people, right? As a teacher would. I mean, it's just, but he's just, I don't know, I'm going to create, I'm going to define time in an impossible way that makes no sense, all right? And then let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. Well, that's good to clarify that the light will actually reach earth and will mean anything. That's good. And it was so, of course, as if it could have been otherwise. If he was like, do that, and then nothing happened. That would have been fucking ridiculous. So, can't have that, so we're just going to make sure that didn't happen, all right? It actually happened. It was a miracle. All right. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. So presumably he's creating the sun and the moon at this time. And he seems to think that the moon produces light. But it doesn't. It reflects light. And he could have just mentioned that, like a side note. By the way, this lesser light, this doesn't seem as quite as bright as the sun. Yeah, that's because it's just reflecting the light from the sun. It wouldn't take that long to write that in there and for people to wrap their brains around that, okay? So, and then it just tacks on, he made the stars as well. So I don't even know what, at the beginning of this fourth day, when he put lights in the firmament of heaven, what those lights even do. Because afterwards, he's defining that he's making the stars, the sun, the moon. He's making like the cosmos as we understand it, after he's put lights in the firmament that will shine and reach earth. He's probably defining, like creating stars multiple times. Throughout all of this, he's creating the same shit over and over and over again, redoing it. And the only real way to understand why this is because you have a bunch of idiots that don't understand how things work, pulling shit out of their ass, and then you have them all just shoving it all together into one incoherent jumble. I mean, this, like, seriously, if this was a work of literature and it wasn't tied to any religion whatsoever, there's no way it would ever be published. Ever. It's in dire need of like a goddamn, just like a crew of like 100 editors to go through this and fix this crap. All right? Or God's just a terrible, terrible writer. Or I guess Moses at this point supposedly wrote this. And he's not very bright. Okay. So, God set them in the firmament of the heavens and gave light on the earth. He already did this again earlier. I don't know what light he put in the firmament before. I guess he kicked that shit out and was like, no, this one, I made these stars and they're a lot better. Let's use those. And to rule over the day and over the night and to divide the light from the darkness. Again, let's do it a third time. The third time's a charm, all right? Just in case it like started bleeding together and you got this like half day, half night thing. This is fucked up, all right? And God saw that it was good, of course, you got to see that. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So I feel like he's like, it's day 4 and he still really hasn't ventured out from day 1. Like, it's remarkable at how little he's really created at this point. That it couldn't be summed up in the first sentence where it's like God created the heavens and the earth. Could have just moved on from that. But no, we're going to break it up into 4 days where he's just essentially going to do the same shit over and over again. And some people can like approach this and they like to think about it as like, well, this is just a metaphor. You know, it's not be taken literal, but it's written literal. It's written as if like he did this, he did that, he did that. What the fuck is the metaphor that you're looking for? Other than he just created everything, I guess. Which is the first sentence. Could have just left it at that, created the heavens and the earth, we're done, we're moving on. But no, he's going to keep going on But for my own sanity, I'm going to stop, and we're going to pick up next time on day 5 and continue with this precious text, right? Thank you for listening, and hopefully you'll tune in next time. Thank you.